Hello, everybody, and welcome again to an AMA from Open Web Sandbox. Today, we are with the product leader and community strategist from the auction. Welcome, Chloe and Vicky.
Hey there.
Hello.
Thanks for having us. It's been a while since I've personally been on an OWS AMA, so glad to be back. I'm glad to talk to you again on the call.
It's great
It's my
to
first
have
time, so I'm excited.
Should be fun.
Awesome. So the auction is a secondary NFT marketplace built on Near. Can you tell us a bit what the concept is for those that might not be familiar with that? It sounds like a rather novel idea, so I'm very curious to know more about that.
Vicky, I want to hear your your grandiose
My point
vision
of view,
first. I
I
can talk
think,
all
yeah.
day.
Okay, so basically, let's start from a bit of an intro. So, as right now, nowadays, NFT marketplaces, they grow constantly and they expand constantly. Everybody wants to add something new to an existing feature field. But we thought initially to go back and start from the ABC version, the easiest and simplest. So what can we do actually to expand to improve existing ecosystem of NFTs around the world? And we were thinking about not being outstanding and to be like the best of the best to show off, I would say. No, we were thinking about being a bridge and being a boosting tool rather than to be somewhere on the top by ourselves. So NFT marketplace that is now built on Near gives you an opportunity to share, to increase liquidity of NFTs you own, NFTs you created, or you bought. So basically, it is a boosting tool for retail market, I would say, first of all, because the users, every individual user, it is a member of big ocean called ecosystem. So without these individuals, we do not have anything in the first place. So that was our idea to start from these ABC parts. Yeah.
Yeah, I think well said. I mean, in my opinion, I'll just add a bit to the end there. Because I mean, yeah, the auction, in my opinion, is this kind of, or trying to be a primitive in the Near ecosystem to start with. This like building block, this tool that creators, collectors can use to enhance what they're already doing. I mean, I think the Near NFT space has grown remarkably and considerably, without the auction being a part of it so far, and amazing. And so the idea, I think, as Vicky put it so well, is not to just come into this growing and budding ecosystem and just try and take top spot of whatever's already happening. The idea is to see, okay, where is there a hole, or where can we kind of build on top of what's already happening? And hopefully that's where the auction fits in. So like there's already, I mean, so much happening on, I know Paras has been over the past year and a half doing so amazing. And I know Mintbase is growing out with 3XR, and there's all these VR additions happening. And the auction just hopes to be this glue, this bridge that kind of, not only those two kind of, OG platforms, but there's tons of other platforms now coming out constantly. And hopefully the auction can be this glue and this bridge that kind of hopefully just connects the ecosystem together and supports all of the ecosystem participants.
Yeah, so how exactly does auction situate itself within the NFT sphere on Near? Like, what exactly is the target of auction? What do you want to facilitate with this platform, basically, and how basically it works for users? What is it that auction provides?
Yeah, so I think Vicky has some wonderful ideas of how she's using her design mind to kind of cater to specific users. But in my opinion, the high level idea is a secondary sale marketplace. So that's where we're trying to really focus. Like, yes, after launch, you'll be able to mint there as well, of course. So, full suite of services, hopefully make it really easy to get into NFTs for the first time and all that stuff. But we're really focusing is how do we take this amazing ecosystem of NFTs and, as Vicky said, add liquidity to them or make them more useful than they already are. So they're already doing wonderful. How do we add effectiveness to what's already happening? So for secondary sales, and I know that you've gone through quite a few different, design flows to make that happen. So Vicky, I'd love to. I haven't really played with the actual platform too much, so it's always nice hearing about, how you're trying to tackle those things.
So based on what you asked and what Chloe mentioned as well, the main idea is, of course, it's an increased ecosystem's liquidity. Of course, because secondary trading is always higher than primary one. And but in here, we are talking about something that might be in the future cross-chain. So right now we work on your ecosystem only, but this beginning already allows us to combine and to build that bridge between Parasa and Mint-based, for instance. So only you need is to connect your wallet, and that's all. So every asset would be there, and you manage them as you wish, as you want. This is the mainly thing that we start from. But later on, it would allow you as well to work not only within your ecosystem, but go outside of it, just to increase the borders, expand them. This is the primary thought and the aim.
So pretty cool. So the idea is you just kind of log in with whatever wallet. It's kind of like for near ecosystem people, kind of like how you use the Rainbow Bridge, right? You just log into your Ethereum wallet, whatever RPCs are there. So Aurora, NFTs, Ethereum mainnet, whatever other EVM that you could think of, dozens of them now, I guess. You can log into your Near wallet or whatever else, and then you could hopefully kind of see all your NFTs there, and then kind of interact with them through the auction marketplace. So not only bridging near ecosystems and liquidity together, but hopefully just Web3 crypto ecosystems as well. So cool. See, I learn new things every day here as well.
That's very nice. I think interoperability between chains is something very important right now at this point in time. So I saw that Ravi joined us. Maybe you want to say something? Or
yeah, Ravi. Let's hear from Ravi.
I am playing a purely supportive role here. The two ladies who are representing the project are doing such a wonderful job that I haven't yet found a reason to talk. I'm here in case, not necessarily if they miss something, but if we can add something from the standpoint of the Magic community in general, that's really my job. So
glad
so far, I have absolutely nothing to add to the conversation.
Well, glad to have you, and as always, the Magic community as well.
Yeah, I think earlier you asked about whether Vicky and Chloe were co-founders. Just a little plug, if you will. The auction is a project that was started by Magic Powered, the Magic Powered community. We're full service design and development collective. We are kind of building and maintaining the Astro platform, building some developer tooling on Near by means of Stargate, which I think everyone should check out if they can. Secondary marketplace and a whole bunch of other products on Near. Just it's a really, really great group of people who are working despite adversarial conditions in Ukraine right now, just building cool stuff. And I've had the absolute pleasure of kind of seeing them work and helping just move things along. The long-term goal is to create projects like the auction and have people like Vicky and Chloe from our community create, manage, market, and just build cool stuff. That's what we do. And so far, the auction is our first experiment, and it's going really well. So I'm quite excited about more projects like this.
Always fun to experiment. So.
Oh yeah, what else is the point of the Web3 space?
Yeah, I mean, experiment with the community, right? That's pretty much what we're all doing. I mean, OWS, I feel like another one, just experimenting with the community. So great to have you here, La Devochka, running the streams, coming from doing the like the paper. I've learned so much about the near community as well, from like the like the blog posts you put out about all the women in the space and everything. So I think having the auction spun out this way, having like a lot of near community projects have kind of spun out this way of just, let's have an idea, let's have some community members try and lead the ship. And it's great to have, like, obviously great devs that way, devs as well on the Magic community to help us build it all. So the auction is supported heavily, obviously, by Magic powered community as well.
Okay, so maybe you can tell me about the building processes behind the auction. When did the idea start, and how is the development going?
Oh, the idea, I suppose, as every idea, it just starts when you don't expect it at all. And it was basically while we were working on other project as Magic powered and being a designer, I was just doing my job. But later on, it just developed into something new, something individual. And
Vicky, you're not just a designer; you're the lead designer.
Yeah, right now. I cannot get used to it. So, so it was just, again, unexpected thing that happened during the work. That's all. And I think the seed was planted when we were just coming across any bumps and issues during the development, during the design process and such things. And after all this, we just subconsciously gathered all these issues and gaps, and created another new thing to overcome this. Yeah, that was.
You're just solving problems and doing your job, and then, and then the auction just exactly. Like, oh, here.
Yeah.
Now we have a platform.
So it was like puzzles. So today I came across this issue. Tomorrow I just happened to see this problem. And after all, you have this little puzzle that just joins together very smoothly, and you have the solution for all of them. Just it was yeah. Nice. And in terms of the development, I would say, right now it's very hot on the kitchen, really. The devs are working on the smart contracts, so they're working on the front end, back end as well. So we have these daily calls to update each other on the progress, and based on the sneak peek we're going to show, we have quite a progress, I would say. So very soon we're having the alpha launch, pre-alpha / alpha launch, where we can test features we provide and also improve points throughout this testing process. Yeah. So basically, it's very hot out there again. Like. It was just, the call was an hour ago, and I still am thinking about, what should I do next? How can I assist the developers? Because they have no time to do anything extra. And as Ravi said, we're working in Ukraine is such like I would say not very a bit panicking from time to time, but I wouldn't say that in place where we're located right now, most of our team have any troubles, it's good for us, and so they can focus mainly on the projects and mainly on the auction project.
And just a little backstory. When we applied for the first grant, it was not called the auction. I can do many things well. Naming projects is not one of them. And the initial name was called Trajan's Marketplace, which is one of the first like historic collective marketplaces in Rome. I thought it was a good name, and then the team pointed out it sounds very much like the Trojan virus, which obviously is not a good thing to name anything really.
Probably
so
luckily
the team brainstormed a little bit and decided to change the name. So
I wasn't participating. I didn't even know about this story, so something new I heard today.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. We're all learning today. Well, we can probably share the first little trailer so people can kind of know what we're talking about, hopefully, and see what was built a few weeks ago at least. And then I guess we have a second sneak peek that hasn't been shown yet that will get shown soon.
Right. So is the time to show the first one?
Yeah, let's show the first one. Let's well, people have seen it. Maybe not everyone from the OWS community, but this one's been shared quite a bit actually by the NEO community, which is great.
Okay.
I think it shut off early.
And Vicky, wasn't the soundtrack created by
Thank you for
developer?
mentioning that. No, thank you for it was
What an amazing soundtrack. Wow.
It was great.
How dare you?
Happened the whole time.
Okay,
there are skills in the community that I don't even know.
I don't know
about.
what
This is
they're doing,
great.
but they're making fun. Okay, actually, these soundtracks and for the first and for the second sneak peek they were made by my husband, and yeah, I love these two songs. They're my favorite. So when we came up with an idea of showing the sneak peeks, actually to show what we have, to give more information, more useful information to the early adopters, I was like thinking about adding something on the background music as a background music, and of course, knowing that like legal issues, etc., can come across, and I just took without my husband knowing his music.
Isn't that copyright infringement?
It's okay. So we solved it.
It's okay. It's okay.
What's yours is
okay.
his.
No quarrels for there. So yeah. He was actually happy that yes, through this via this sneak peeks, quite a big amount of people could hear his song. So I'm happy to share, and I like these songs. They also have this spice to the videos to show like funny mood, the UI we have already. So I'm happy to share it, and I'm proud.
Yeah, no, I think it gives like a good vibe for the auction community, how it really is community run. Like, product leads, husband, building the music, we're building this with the community and for the community. And, that's kind of the vibe that comes through all the parts of it. I think we should make NFTs out of these. And add them to a lot of people's wallets and share the music with more people. That'd be cool.
Awesome.
I would be okay with that. Maybe Vicky, the first artist sneak peek NFTs can be Andrew's work.
Right, I will tell him, but it probably he's right now listening to us and watching us, so
awesome.
He already knows it.
Perfect. Well, you're on board then, hopefully. Sounds good. You've been
Yeah,
commissioned.
like we have this tendency of being a community first place, and then it just evolves in something called family. And we end up with like everybody around, not colleagues, not peers, but family. It's good.
I get no complaints over here.
Yeah, that's one of the great things I think about working in Web3. You can actually bring people that you really like into your workspace and work with them and create a very nice atmosphere. That's awesome. And I think that the projects that are the result of these synergies are really much better, and they can form like very tight communities, which are the backbone of the project. So that's awesome. So I was wondering, in terms of like access to the platform, who can access the platform? Like who can put art in it? Is there like some gatekeeping? Like how does that work? I also saw that it's a question that someone from the audience also had. I'll show it right now.
Great question.
Yeah.
So the auction, that when it launches on mainnet, will be available for everyone and anyone, and just come on board, list everything. But as Vicky said, we're kind of getting close to our like pre-alpha very soon, and rolling heavily into beta, and really working towards getting to that period of time where everyone can jump on board. So for the alpha and beta, it will be a limited launch. So not everyone will be able to come on board, mainly because of obviously alpha, lots of bugs. We're hoping to actually use that time to get those bugs reported efficiently, fix them so that when the community comes on board, it's working. If everyone was using it, then it would just be infinite messages of this is broken, and that's probably not very helpful either. And so we're hopefully going to get committed community members to help us with that. And then once we kind of get all those bugs fixed, get into beta, hopefully alpha, not too long, mainnet launch, not too long after that. And then everybody will be able to bring their NFTs from whatever platform they're from, whether they're from, Tank Bay, whether they're from Mintbase, Paras, any NFT launch that's happened, Mr. Brown's, astronauts, pups, all the crazy stuff. You can bring it to the auction, list it, have your auction go there. So.
And what is the experience that you're striving to achieve in terms of user experience? How do you want that to feel to people using it?
Well, again, I'm just going to pretty much reiterate Vicky's words, but it should be, in my opinion, pretty seamless. Like it should feel very Web 2, but like give you the benefits of Web 3. Like I think most people understand the Web 3 user experience, and it's not that great, in my opinion. So the idea is to either keep the Web 2 experience, build upon it, and give some benefits like the ability to access assets on multiple chains eventually, or the ability to dig into data sets and see what's going, dig into other people's collectors' wallets and see what's going on. That stuff's not possible in Web 2. So we're going to, but we're not trying to, add some difficulty there. So I know, the number of clicks, for example, to get from not even logged in to actually listing your auction. The wonderful design lead is working very hard at making sure that those flows and those processes are very straightforward. I know for many people, they can post a picture on Instagram, or they can create a TikTok and post that. So they should be able to mint an NFT. I think that's the idea, is that as long as you can use Web 2 tech, and as long as you could, get with that process, it should be just as simple with the auction to be able to, as Vicky said, you just log in with your Near wallet, you see all your NFTs there, you just go ahead and you can start creating your auction. But Vicky, I'm sure you think about this all day and night, so feel free to add any specifics if you'd like.
I think like you mentioned everything. Like we do our best to to limit not to limit, sorry, to decrease the number of clicks, the number of steps before you actually do anything. Because being an amateur user, being a professional user, it doesn't matter for the auction who you are actually. You have the same amount of features, you have the same amount of steps to do anything. And they're quite laconic and easy. So this is, this is the flow basically for all the platform.
And I also think that that kind of wraps into the previous question about who can access this, who this is for. We got asked this question a lot about, the airdrop, which I think we will talk about in later in the call. Is it going to allow access to certain features? Is it going to be necessary to do certain things to have the airdrop? It is antithetical to our belief as a community building that we lock anybody out of anything. And I think, that belief luckily permeates Web3 for the most part. But I think the way the designers and the product owners and the whole team has been thinking about the auction has been to basically translate that kind of usability into the design itself. So you're not just not locking people out because they don't own a certain airdrop or an NFT. You're also not locking people out because they may not be comfortable with kind of the additional flows required with general Web3 products. So the usability and kind of the number of clicks and the intuitiveness of the design is as kind of rooted in this idea that everyone should have access to the platform as the kind of overall accessibility through, just simply having a near wallet. I think that is kind of like two pieces of the same coin.
No, I think that's very well put. I really haven't I think, as you said, Web3 has that openness kind of theme to it, but I think Near specifically has that openness through usability, like openness through UX theme to it. And I think I never really put that dichotomy together before, that you really are blocking people out if they can't use your platform. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but it's I like that it's a focus of the auction specifically.
Because I mean, Vicky, Chloe, if you think about it, Web3 may not differentiate, based on economic status but it definitely has barriers of entry for people who are not comfortable with technology.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure. I mean, Near is the first blockchain that I got my mom to use, though.
Oh, there you go.
Winning there. We're getting somewhere. She'll shut the price every, couple days or so. She minted a few NFTs. We're getting there. She'll definitely use the auction. So
there you go.
It'll be even easier. So it's great.
Nice.
It's hard for her to figure out splits though, like royalties and all that. Still very complicated for her. I think she needs more easy buttons. I know there are some actually preset things. I know some people do I want to do a low split or a charity split or whatever. I think having some predetermined, I want to give most to charity or I want to keep most for myself.
Chloe, you know what Web3 needs is Clippy. Do you remember Clippy?
Yes, that would be great. Just helping people along the way.
Just have a little friendly paper clip pop out and say, do this, this is next. And,
It learned from your previous blockchain transactions and then offers you new ideas. Wonderful.
We can now create a poll who remembers Clippy, because I'm afraid not everybody from from the audience would know.
This is.
I remember.
I grew up.
Vicky, we are old, you know that, right?
I'm dating myself now. Jeez.
Wait, you don't know what Clippy is? See, we're old. You're not.
You see, we're just we're talking only three of us. So stop it.
In the early Microsoft products, there was a little paper clip it had eyes and a mouth, and it would basically guide people through using Microsoft products. It was essentially not a wizard, but
like a little help, like,
an assistant, you know, like
yeah.
a helper. It was
pop up, give you a little
yeah,
tooltip.
This is in like the 90s, you know, like
Good
early
old
90s.
days.
Yeah, the good old days.
But yeah,
sounds like a good idea though.
What was that?
Sounds like a good idea though for Web3.
Oh, it's a great idea. It seems so kind
see,
of
I think we
dated
built
as
it
an
in with
idea.
quests. I think we built it into the auction,
Yeah.
hopefully with quests. So the idea being like, yes, you can have some tooltip come up where it says, you know, you can, you know, to create your first NFT. Like if you know someone's never created an NFT, which should be relatively straightforward. If they've, you know, never logged into the auction before, they've never listed here before. Say, hey, you can list an NFT this way, or create your first NFT here and list it like this. And they can actually like get quests completions, you know, get an NFT airdrop to them saying, hey, I completed the quest at the auction, or I, you know, minted my first NFT, or so, you know, taking some of those hopefully tooltip ideas and, you know, moving them on with Web3 into the, you know, I think, you know, we're trying to build as a community. I think airdrops are a fun, interesting way to be like, hey, you were here at this time, here you go. I think fungible token airdrops are fine. You know, you can reward a community that way. I think NFT airdrops are very interesting because you can tell who got the airdrop first. If you index things correctly, you can say who kept the airdrop the whole time, who kept it for at least a month. You know, how much did they, you know, who paid the most for an airdrop NFT on secondary sale. And you can kind of decide based on those things, how do you want the community to be built, or who do you want to take part in those conversations? So yeah, I think hopefully we're going to add some of those fun tooltip ideas and hopefully have some fun with it. We've talked about that a little bit through different airdrop ideas as well. So
I saw that Sam asked a question. I'll share it with you.
Thank you, Sam. Appreciate the question asking.
So, is the auction compatible with endemic NFTs on Aurora?
So I would say at launch, no, it would not be, because currently there's no platform yet, and we're going to be in alpha soon on testnet and near mainnet soon. But eventually, I think, as Vicky said, you'll be able to log in with your Near wallet, with your your MetaMask, so your EVM compatible wallet, and you'll be able to see your NFTs from whatever platform. So eventually, yes, we're working towards that. It is on the proverbial roadmap, but that's not going to be available at mainnet. So wouldn't want to just sit there and say yes, but it is in our minds. We are thinking about it. It is in the plans. Very good question.
Vicky, do you want to maybe talk a little bit about like the feature roadmap, perhaps? How we plan to kind of extend the ecosystem of the auction?
I haven't. Do you like to start? Would you like?
I think Robbie has some ideas about extending the ecosystem.
Because I think the natural progression is you handle the near kind of native ecosystem, then you get onto you do EVM compatible ecosystems through Aurora. It's definitely, in my view, kind of the next stage of expanding general capabilities, and kind of once you build for EVM compatible chains, then expanding beyond that becomes, I wouldn't say relatively simple, because there's still a lot of standard differences and all kinds of kind of technical hurdles to create this overarching secondary marketplace. But the road to that, which is the eventual aim, does definitely pass through Aurora centric NFTs. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's pretty cool. I mean, even Aurora alone is only one EVM. Like anybody can spin up their own Aurora now by just forking Aurora, having their own EVM. So we can have the auction could have its own EVM.
Chloe, why are you doing this to us, man?
I'm just saying, it's all the same at this point, in my opinion. So I think it's a great question because, are we going to support endemic NFTs from Aurora? I mean, you have to if you're going to support Aurora. And if you're going to support Aurora, you're arguably just supporting every EVM because you're just changing an endpoint. So the user would be the one deciding which EVM endpoints they want to have displayed in the auction. The auction would have some like standard implementation of its services that's deployed on, you know, those chains. Now, obviously, like, I mean, if you wanted to make it really simple, you could just have something where it'd be a factory contract. And if you are using some EVM for the very first time, the auction you could pay the gas, which would be pretty low, to deploy that contract on that EVM for the first time and integrate with it. So, or you could just request, like, to the, you know, the Aurora, I mean, so to the auction DAO, hey, can you please add deploy your code on this EVM so that I can interact, and it would happen in the next code upgrade. So like those types of things, in my opinion, will just be rolling additions. There's probably going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of EVMs that users are trying to integrate NFTs for. And I think the answer to most of these questions is the auction hopes just be eventually above all that, like where, or below all that, whichever way you want to look at it, where hopefully any user that's interacting with NFTs and wants to interact with secondary sales, the eventual goal is the auction will be able to handle that. Starting with Near, I think reasonably going to Aurora. I think the Octopus network, also built on Near, will need some place to integrate with secondary sales, and expanding from there, hopefully.
Awesome. So maybe that might be the time for the second sneak peek.
Ooh.
And while they figure it out, I think this is also, as a community, our vision in general. This kind of cross-chain, it's a cross-chain future. And, you know, we've talked about building cross-chain wallets, cross-chain dexes. It's the thing that I think is really interesting about our collective of people is most of them have worked, you know, all of their careers in Web 2. They've done, you know, managed like 300 engineers and done kind of the usual stuff. And Web 3 offers a really interesting challenge to them, particularly when you're talking about going cross-chain. You know, just the complexity of building an architecture for a product that will sit on multiple chains, have multiple kind of like consensus mechanisms. That's really what keeps people coming back. So I think the auction is like one of the multi-pronged approach that the Magic Powered community is trying to take to get to some version of this cross-chain future. And yeah, it's pretty exciting to see people ideate and
yeah, it'll be fun to try and figure it out for sure. Because I mean, I think no one's figured it out yet. So we're all experimenting.
I mean, it is inevitable, I think. But
I think with NFT staking, it becomes a lot easier because potentially you don't actually have to move the entire NFT. Like, you can like lock it into some product, and people know it has some sort of value now. But anyways, the second sneak peek, we're on Near for now, for the foreseeable future, dealing with Near and Near specific assets. So yeah, let's show that second sneak peek. Thank you. Ooh, so fancy.
Very fancy.
Yeah,
Andrew's got skills, Vicky. He's good.
Yeah, I think my favorite part is always staring at the features that are coming and then dancing to the music. For sure.
Okay, maybe could you explain a little about the features that were shown in the video?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So let's start from the features that we cannot just remove because they are basic and crucial. It's like categories, collections, of course, sorting by, let's say, pricing bits. But my favorite are more dynamic ones that are hashtags, because they go viral. They boost this searching process, and among these dynamic features throughout the search, we also add the price range. That is also just we consider it dynamic as well, because we have different users who have different aims, and basically, even though you're not going to bid or place a bid on anything, but you're a creator, you would like to search and look what is going on actually on this marketplace, what people are thinking, what do they use. So these types of exploration and discover would help both. It doesn't matter you're listing or you're more of a collector who wants to buy NFTs. But of course, I think the top one is analytics. Because initially we're going to use the analytics, which is based more on the volume of the listing. So, but later on, further on, we are going to expand it a little more. Again, because we would have more information, we would just go through the gaps we have. For sure, we will have them. We cannot be like supreme and without any flaws. But after this all testing, we're going to expand these statistics to have it more, to be it more useful, and to be it more for those who wants to not only just increase the liquidity of their collection, of their project, but also to improve the NFT marketplace ecosystem as it is. So yeah, this is a bunch of features we have, but one of them you haven't even seen there because we haven't done the sneak peek with it. It's my favorite one. It's the bundle auction. This is what I'm going to, I think, in near future to show you as well via sneak peek. Bundle auction, it's a feature that gives you an ability to compile, to bunch or to bundle up a few NFTs. Doesn't matter what collection they belong to, what maybe in the future, like it doesn't matter what blockchain they belong to. You know, you can just bundle up them, set up the auction, give the individual settings to time, to price, anything like that, and sell it all together. So this is initially my top feature I'm thinking of, like personally, like it's more than subjective thought.
One question. This was so, if I remember correctly, I think Chloe was the first one to bring this bundling concept. Am I right? I think I remember that from early conversation.
I like the idea. Yeah.
What was the genesis of that idea? I'm curious. I love it.
I'm not that intelligent. I'm not that smart. OpenSea has a useful bundling feature. It works relatively well, and I think that like the Near ecosystem doesn't have it for a variety of reasons. The royalties are difficult. Gas is difficult. Like cross-contract calls are difficult. Like
that's why
different.
That's why you wait for Stargate, man. Stargate comes in, all this becomes easy.
Yeah. So building on Near is not necessarily always the easiest to build the same features as what's possible other places, and I think the auction, I think being able to build it is pretty cool. I think it's one of those things that, like, when people say, I don't always shill it too. I talk about it a lot. Obviously, I think it's cool, but I try not to shill it too much because it won't be available on, like, for the alpha, or it probably won't be available for the mainnet launch, but it's being worked on. But I would agree. I think it's like one of the coolest features because it really does do what we're talking about. It brings the community together. It brings projects together. It brings different collections together. So now you can really have, a bunch of collections get together and say, hey, let's have a charity sale. Let's all put one of our NFTs into this collection and auction it off together, okay? And now all these collections each have their own DAOs. So now it can actually be all on chain. There could be votes saying, all 10 of these DAOs are going to send one NFT to this collection and auction it off, and then the proceeds go to charity. Like, we can start creating these really cool, dynamic, like, NFT auctions because of bundling, which again is already possible on EVM. You can just fork the code and do it, but it is something that's not possible on Near yet, and so super cool. I do want to say as well, though, Lewis from 3XR, you are really cool. They've gotten pretty close where you could, like, they've gotten a really cool way to do it, but yeah, very cool that we can bring the community together with a feature like this.
It's very exciting to hear how, like, all these potential use cases that can come from the auction and the ways, like, people can organize themselves to do different things through this platform. It also seems like very intuitive to use, which is awesome. So I'm very, like, excited to see the project getting realized. And
yeah, hopefully you'll be using the platform soon too, taking your blog posts, minting them as written NFTs, auctioning them off.
That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, there's the Writers Guild DAO now, you can get, some funding to participate with the project, come into our Discord, join the airdrop, be part of the community, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, I should definitely join.
Yeah,
so,
go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, like, just to maybe, like, wrap these things up, anything that you would like to share with the community, some exciting things coming up in the next months, some call to action, whatever you would like to share.
Yeah. Well, I guess currently call to action at this point, honestly, is just get involved and join our community. The way we are doing that now is by having early community members. Sorry, my earphones are everywhere. Having early community members come in and sign up for an NFT airdrop. It's not very selective, but you do have to actually come in, sign up, take part. And the idea is to use this as a way to say, who wants to take part in this? We're building for the community, with the community. We want to, we're getting into our alpha soon. So, if you want to help the Near community with these features and you want to be a tester and you want to be first to use the auction, if that sounds interesting or fun to you, it might not sound fun to everyone. If you want to wait for everything to be polished, we'll be ready soon. Don't worry. But if you want to be in the trenches with us, testing and having fun and experimenting, drop into our Discord, go on, theauction.io and come to our website and join in. There'll be ways you'll get your airdrop. There'll be ways to use the airdrop to interact with the platform. There'll be some select auctions that take place for early community members and all that fun stuff. But yeah, just drop in, get involved, say hi, ask questions, come to our AMAs. We have a Twitter Spaces every Friday. So, you can ask us questions then if you didn't get to ask your question here during this talk. And we're pretty much always available on some platform. So whether it's Telegram, Discord, Twitter, all the fun Web2 platforms that we all get pinged on. So.
Okay, so thank you very much, guys, for coming in today. It was a lot of fun talking to you. You're really sending good vibes. And
There was one more question. Do you mind if we answer it? I think it's a really cool one. I don't know the full answer to it, but someone asked if there's a bundle auction, how will you manage the set gas fees for the NFT? So I think it's really cool because like I think about this gas fees constantly. They're very stressful on Near. You got like 300 milliseconds for your operation. But for bundles, first of all, you could just check how much it should cost to send each NFT. Like you've tested it already. You know how much it should cost to send an NFT. So you could only bundle 4, for example, at the beginning. And you can make it more dynamic later on by saying, okay, you're checking it at 10. You could also like have the NFT send over multiple like chunks. So you could, if it's a 100 NFT sale, you could just break it up and say, okay, it might take 30 blocks or whatever to send, and you send 4 NFTs per block, and it just goes through. There was a few ways to handle it, but it's a very good question. And if you want to, help us test and figure this stuff out, jump into our Discord, and we can use you as a tester, and we can help figure it out together. So, yeah.
And I also think so. This is another plug, but we're here. So we're currently in like the second milestone for Stargate, which is essentially like Infura, but for Near. But we don't plan to go the Infura route and kind of stay centralized. We do have a kind of roadmap to decentralize. And the auction is actually going to be one of the kind of the set of 10 projects or so that are going to be participating in the beta. And I think a lot of what Chloe said about, trying to figure out gas fees and, that limiting the number of the size of the bundle, I think a lot of that gets solved by streamlining data availability. And that's kind of what the whole point of Stargate is. And that as we all know, building on Near is not easy. But like some of these applications that we're trying to build will not only help the auction, but in general, the building in the kind of dev experience in general. So I think some of these problems that exist right now, hopefully in 6 months, will not be as problematic as they are currently.
That would be great for many of us. Stargate. Yeah.
I'm excited about that for sure. It's going to be a really interesting step forward for Near.
Okay. Awesome, guys. Then I thank you again for coming today, and it was really a nice talk. It was a pleasure having you here, and wish you all the best with auction, and you'll see me on Discord.
Perfect.
All right.
Thank you so much, and look forward to speaking to you soon there. Thanks for hosting. Really appreciate it.
Have a nice day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.